This is the 2009 Cadillac SRX all-wheel drive V8. I've got a wheel bearing issue here on this right rear wheel bearing. Going to show you how to get this thing out. It's not that bad. Once you get the wheel off, this axle nut, 36 millimeter, fit right on it. Caliper sitting right here. Normally I would hang them. This has got a nice convenient spot for it. Will sit right there. These two bolts, the long one, in case you forget, this is a long one, this is a short one. If you put them out on the ground, forget, the long one goes in the top. The socket that fits that is the 3/4. Now I know I'm using a mix between standard and metric, but whatever fits the closest, that's what I use. I don't know if they mixed them like that, but it'll work. Now to get this off, I've already started. There's some bolts on the back of this. I'm using that 18 millimeter here. Now there is one, it's right here. Once you get this, of course, is the clip. You want to make sure you don't forget to get that undone. That's for the ABS and the traction control. You disconnect that, it clips right here. Let's see here, there's the clip, comes with these. So anyways, once you do that, then there's some bolts back here. There's one, it sits right here, right where my index finger is pointing. So it's kind of like right in here-ish. There is another one that is right here. Let me get a little light. Alright, now if we can see it, it's this one, that bolt right there to the left of the screen, right next to where my fingers are in front of the camera. That one has to come off. The problem is this is blocking it. I'm going to see if I can get this off. I don't think I can without removing this top one. There's another one on the bottom. I'll show that in a minute. It's directly under the axle. I mean, just can't see it with the camera, but if you were looking at it, it'd be about where the bottom lug nut is. You have to reach around and back in. That one should be easy to get to. Again, it's right below the axle, directly below the axle. Behind there, just can't get the camera in there good to see it. It's okay. That one will come right out, but again, this one here on the side, this one gives everybody a problem. I've got a nice ratchet wrench, but hey, that might not be the answer because I can't get it out now. Just for a side note on this, on the back, I was trying to use the old ratchet wrench, and while I did get a hold of that, as soon as I made a couple of turns and I tried to get this off, I barely got it out of here, so you're not going to be able to leave that on. So try with the box end and see if that'll come out. If you look right here, you can see this is how you get the ratchet, and I've got a 1/2 inch drive ratchet with the short extension, and that socket is on the nut. It just has to, the socket will barely, ratchet will fit in here. You just have to kind of finagle it between a couple of things here, but this will come right off. And the reason I went to this bolt from this one that's on the top right is because once this bolt comes out so far, you can't really get it with the wrench anymore. I was using the box end and you just can't get it anymore. So hopefully what I'll do is loosen this one up down here, get it loose, get it off, slide this whole thing away, and maybe it'll pull that bolt with it and get back to it. Let's see what happens. Okay, here it is, it's out. You see that nut that I was talking about? I just never took it all the way out, and it won't come all the way out. But I've seen a lot of people complain that this one is so hard to get to, and it is. But you can get it out with an open end. You've got this one out right here. There's one right here, and you can see I didn't take it all the way out, no need to. And this one's just a little harder to get to, so I leave it. This one is not going to come out, not even like this. It still will not clear this, just barely. But anyway, once you get these two loose, you start taking this one out. When you get to where you can't unscrew it anymore, you just pull the whole hub and keep going. and no need to take off. This is the parking brake, the drum brakes. I'm gonna tell you, the first time I did one of these, I thought I had to take this thing off. I did, got this apart, and there's like a little piece of this thing somewhere. Anyway, all this is going to come loose, and you're going to have a heck of a time getting it back together, which I did. And there's a couple of, like a part or two that slip out that you better hope you don't lose them. But anyway, that's how you get the hub out. Well, let's put the new one in. You just got to be a little careful, because as soon as that you pull it out, it's heavy. It's going to try to drop. You've got to hold this with one hand, and the other hand fish this between this axle and where the hub is. Not a lot of room, and that clip right there will try to spring up and catch. So just keep that in mind. Which, pulling the old one out maybe doesn't matter as much, but still. Just another, just about got this on. Just a little helpful hit. It's a little bit hard to get the bolts started, just not lining up so good. You probably know this, but I just take like a punch, a center punch, and since the bolts are still in these two holes, I took a center punch into this hole and just jammed it in there, kind of get it to line up. And once I got this one started, then I got this hard to get one started, and then I went ahead, after I got this started, well, I want to make sure this one's lined up. So I went ahead and started this one. Well, I just went ahead and tightened that down. You just have to make sure, you gotta watch the placement of this drum brake. It will get caught under here. So as you're tightening it, just kind of watch it. And I just had to bump mine up, and it popped right through. All three are tightened. Now, this is a Moog wheel hub. I like to go with Moog usually. Notice that wire, it just won't quite reach right there. What you can do is come in from the side, bring it around, boom, it's on. So if it's not quite long enough, don't distress, just come in from the side and wiggle it on. And there, that's plugged up. We'll get the rest of this put together. That is it. That's all it takes. Takes me just about 1 hour to do the whole thing, the whole wheel hub change. It's really not a bad job. Now that you know to use that open end on that one nut on the right that you can't get off. Very simple, very easy. And again, this is for the all-wheel drive. This is the rear for the all-wheel drive. All right, might be the same for rear wheel drive, I'm not sure, but this is the all-wheel drive.